hope that you all have had a great week and you are looking forward to the weekend. To everyone who will be catching tonight's broadcast live, go ahead and do me a favor. Slide into those comments and tell me what you are looking forward to doing this weekend, whether that's catching up on beauty rest, getting some much needed self care, or maybe taking a long weekend trip. Would love to hear what you have planned for this weekend. Of course, this weekend starts on Friday the 13th. I don't know if you are superstitious or not, but there are a lot of people who definitely will be playing it very safe and careful on this Friday. For everyone who will be catching tonight's broadcast on the replay, make sure you do me a favor when you're watching. Include the hashtag replay inside of the comments. Again, I hope that you all have had an incredible day thus far. You know what we do. We start every broadcast off with our Ray of Motivation moment. And for tonight's Ray of Motivation moment, I want to inspire you with a quote from Mark Twain. And that is, no word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. Now, in speaking or even in acting, there is something called pausing with purpose. But I believe that this particular quote can be expanded out into our lives. You know, while it may be very effective to draw people into a presentation or a speech, when we take the time to pause to make sure everyone is listening or to get their attention, we can do the same thing in our everyday lives. If we're in situations where, let's say that you are giving too much, sometimes taking a pause, pumping the brakes, and slowing your roll on what you're giving will actually make those people around you take the time to figure out why you stopped, what's going on, and maybe it's time for them to step up and give as well. Again, that is your Ray of Motivation moment for this Wednesday's edition of the Angela Ray Show. Well, I think that tonight, our guests tonight are very timely in being on the Angela Ray Show. I don't know if you are like me, but maybe, just maybe, you have a quarantine 15 that you have had to deal with, maybe a little bit of extra stress dealing with the pandemic, or perhaps that summer body didn't happen exactly the way you wanted it to. Well, tonight I have a fitness dynamic duo from Be Well and Healthy. So please help me welcome Scottie Davis Winslow and Rhonda Babb. Scottie and Rhonda, thank you so much for being here on the Angela Ray Show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Absolutely. August just happens to be National Wellness Month. So this is very timely to have you all on the show. And, I'm just curious because I know that both of you are professionals in your respective individual careers. So what inspired you to get involved in the wellness space?
Well, really, Angela, we've kind of always been in the wellness space from a personal standpoint. I know Rhonda can tell you about how long she's been kind of on her wellness journey, but I think it's been a lifestyle for me, probably, since undergrad, just in terms of working out and trying to make sure I was eating healthy. And surprisingly, even through a career that involved a ton of travel, I just managed to stick with it. And then in the last couple of years, we started getting a lot of questions from our peers. And I think that's, as you start getting into your 40s and 50s and beyond, and things start changing, people start asking questions about what can they do. And that's what really kind of motivated the both of us really to kind of take this more into a business so that we could help others.
Yeah. My fitness journey started, a long time ago when I was maybe in my 30s. And now I'm 60-ish. So my fitness journey started back then, and just noticing that people who worked out on a regular basis looked better, their skin looked better. And I figured, I would go ahead and try that. And I even started going to a place they did yoga all the time. And I just noticed how calm I would feel in terms of just stretching out my body. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go ahead and try to exercise on a regular basis. And my body just felt better. I mean, my colon felt better. Everything just was better. So I decided to do that. And Scottie and I, we became friends here where we live. And people would constantly ask us, wow, you guys are always working out. You always look so great. What do you do? And then they noticed, as Scottie said, you know, as they have aged, that everything is not what it used to be before. And so this is why we figured, let's get a business going since everybody's asking us, and let's go ahead and try to help these women with their fitness and wellness goals.
Okay, so we got a comment from one of our very loyal viewers here at the Angela Ray Show, who said that his summer body is on layaway. That is That's from Edwin. Happy belated birthday, Edwin. I know you celebrated a birthday on yesterday as well. But first of all, let me back up. I didn't want to interrupt you, Rhonda. But I heard you say something, Rhonda. You said something like you in your 60s. Where? 60 where? I mean, like, ain't
Right?
no cracks, ain't no gray. I mean, what is going on? I mean, is all this, do I just need to start doing yoga now? So when I hit 60, I'm gonna be bam, bam, bam like you? Is that what we
Well,
have going on right now?
I just will leave it at 60-ish. And yes, you should start doing exercise, some sort of movement. My mantra is movement is medicine. And I tell everybody that. If
Ooh.
you also, you have to, you know, have a diet, a proper diet. But movement is medicine. Yes, not necessarily yoga only, but you have to get out there and move. I try to move 5 to 6 days a week. It doesn't have to be I'm up doing, you know, burpees, things like that. But you can go for a walk. You can do strength training. You just have to move. Movement is medicine.
Okay, so Edwin says he needs to see a birth certificate, Rhonda. I don't think he's
Thanks for
buying
the
No
it.
one
I,
ever
compliment.
believes it.
Nobody ever believes it, but I truly believe it's my diet and exercise. I
oh,
truly
we got
believe.
another comment. You look 30.
Oh,
So
thank
not
you.
yeah. I think that is my cousin as well. So let's transition a little bit. Now we know that the world we're still in a pandemic and probably the conversations that we're having about the pandemic, we didn't think we were going to be having 2 months ago. Now, the CDC guidelines, there's so many things about washing your hands and wearing a mask and social distancing. But how would you all say that wellness in general just impacts your ability to be able to function well during a pandemic?
Well, I mean, as we've seen, well, I guess as we've seen in the news and kind of heard from various health professionals, your baseline of wellness really impacts your ability to cope with any illness, and especially, you know, with the pandemic dealing with COVID-19, because is an illness or virus that really attacks the respiratory system. And so what they're seeing is that once individuals start having trouble there, and especially if they go on a ventilator, you have to have a very strong respiratory system to be able to come out of that. You know, and not that wellness will help you with 100%, but it definitely helps to have a better baseline and better recovery because you're just starting off with a stronger body. And that's, you know, one of the reasons that I also think we've seen more people come to us in the past, you know, several months is just because people understand that when you're starting off with a better baseline, you know, not carrying a lot of excess weight, a stronger cardiovascular system, that it just really better equips you to come out of any type of illness, and just recover a little bit better than if you weren't as healthy.
And I had posted an article on our Facebook page about how people who exercise regularly and were in better shape had a better chance of surviving the COVID-19. So I do agree with Scottie. I think, you know, you have to be in a better condition for your body to be able to withstand any illness. As long as you're doing better, I think, and working, you know, your body is just stronger. I think you will function better.
Now, how would you all describe your business, Be Well and Healthy? And how have the people responded that you've been able to serve thus far?
Well, I think that so the focus of our business really is on women. I know you heard Rhonda said, you know, we're looking to help women. And there are a few reasons for us, you know, kind of targeting that demographic. And that's because, well, one, that's our demographic, right? And a lot of our friends are in that demographic and are coming to us. But specifically women who are getting to that point in life, you know, where you're super busy with your career, your hormones are changing, you're taking care of everyone, and it's really very difficult to kind of put yourself, you know, first in terms of anything, self-care, wellness. And so our business was really born out of the need to kind of address the concerns that we were hearing and that we were seeing a lot, and really helping women to understand, like, as your body changes hormonally, you can still stay fit. It doesn't mean that you have to gain 10 pounds a year. It doesn't mean that, you're so busy that you can't ever fit wellness in. And so I would describe Be Well as a business that's really focused on, the health and wellness, which includes fitness and nutrition for women, as they age and dealing with, the various lifestyle challenges.
And so I would like to add to that, we try to tell our clients or try to get them to understand that maybe when you were in your 30s or 40s, like I tell people, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I could skip lunch a couple of times a week if I had an event. And I could skip lunch a couple of times a week and I could drop all this weight and I could get into that fabulous dress. I could skip lunch all week now and I still would not be able to get into that dress. So if I don't work out on a regular basis, I mean, your metabolism has changed as you age, your metabolism changes, and a lot of different things change. So your hormones are different. So things that you did before or your diet before, you have to change some of the things that you ate before. You just cannot eat. You can eat ice cream every night and have the same result. I know that is shocking. I can see your face, but no, you can't. Not every night, and have the same. It won't have the same impact that it had when you were 30 years old. It's going to be different.
Definitely different. I've had to back up from a lot of things that I used to
Right.
do. I still do them, but definitely in moderation. Well, you got a great testimonial here, Rhonda, saying that ever since she started working down with you, her A1C went down very low. So that is great
Oh,
to hear.
wow. Okay.
Now,
Yes.
I know that sometimes change, and especially when we think of, like, there's some people who think, okay, I got to work out 1 hour a day. I have to eat a salad with every meal. I have to do this. I have to do that. And maybe gradually getting to some of those things are great. But what would both of you say is one thing that someone could do to improve their overall wellness?
I would say just add in one thing, like you said, each week or each month. So, like, let's say that you're sedentary. You just, like, we have people that start working with us who absolutely detest working out. So we say, well, just throw in a 10-minute walk every night after dinner. Before you know it, you have an hour of activity in your week that you didn't have before, and your body will start to respond. And, it's not about deprivation. It's not about, okay, I'm always turning down the French fries and always eating the salad. It's just making the good choices more often than, kind of indulging. I'm not going to call those bad choices. And so maybe it's, okay, for breakfast, I'm not going to have donuts anymore. I'm going to make sure my breakfast is healthy. I'm not going to have, bacon. Breakfast will be oatmeal, or breakfast is going to be, okay, yogurt and fruit, something that's healthier if you feel like your breakfast isn't a healthy choice. But, just one small change, because one thing that we know for sure is that if we try to overhaul someone's lifestyle completely, they're going to shut down and not do any of it.
And that's why a lot of people who live on a diet, it doesn't work because it's just, who try a diet, not live on a diet. Who people think, this month I'm trying this diet, next month I'm trying the grapefruit diet, this month I'm trying the cabbage diet. It doesn't work because it's just not sustainable. I think it's easier if you say, like Scottie said, okay, this week I'm going to have oatmeal maybe twice a week instead of donuts. And maybe you can have a donut, one day a week. We're not saying cut it all out, because if you do that, that's not going to work either, because you just can't go cold turkey. I mean, you've been doing that all the time. So you have to kind of ease the client into it. But you have to make some change. If you're willing to make a small change, something, and then, gradually as you see results, of course, you'll want to make other changes. They'll come back and say, like that person who went in there and said her A1C is different. Of course, now that she's seeing results, she calls me and say, hey, what's next? What can I do now? This is great. My doctor said, hey, I'm doing better. So what do I do next? And then we build on that. So that's what I would say. Small changes.
Angela, even a change as small as cutting out soft drinks. Like, we've had people that, drink, 2 and 3 cans of soda a day, or pop, wherever you are. But, not the diet kind, but the kind that are like 180 calories a can. And if we're like, look, just cut that out for a week. I mean, before they know it, they've cut out literally, several hundred calories from every day. And it makes a huge difference. And so that's not even getting to what they're eating at that point in time or getting to their movement. That's just saying, all right, let's cut out the Sprite or the Coke, for a week and just see how you feel, see what changes you see in your body. And if you're taking, 400 to 600 calories out of every day, I mean, it only takes 2,500 calories to lose a pound. I mean, you're like well on your way. So just small things, just starting small.
Or,
Well, I
even
just
if you don't,
asked.
go
No,
ahead,
go
I'm
ahead, Rhonda.
sorry. I was going to say, even if you don't take it out every day, even if when you start, some people can do every day, but I don't want to scare people away and they're thinking, oh my God, when I go to them, they're going to tell me I can't have my soda. I may say, cut it out 2 days a week. Let's start there and you'll see a difference. And then you can go to 3. And, I had someone who told me, I can't drink my tea. I have to have, 2 teaspoons of sugar every day in my tea. And I said, well, let's cut it down to 1. And so she did. And then I said, okay, let's cut it down to none. And she is down to none. And she is like so excited. She tells me all the time, when we get together, it's different. She says, look, I'm drinking my tea. It has absolutely no sugar. And if she's on here, you know who you are. And she says, I have absolutely no sugar. I never thought I could do that. And sometimes I tell her, well, drop a cinnamon stick in there if you really still want it, to be sweet. So baby steps. You'll be surprised if you try it. Small changes make a big difference. It does.
Baby steps indeed. But we have a question from the audience. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Do you want to take that one, Rhonda? Or
I can. This works for some
Thanks for
people.
that question.
Thank you. That works for some people. I think there have been a lot of studies on intermittent fasting, and it does work because your body responds to the starvation and starts burning calories. I can't do intermittent fasting. I don't know about Scottie. I doubt she can either because I work at first thing in the morning.
right.
And after that, I am ravenous. I do not know how I could go 14 hours, 12 hours on and 14. You go a very long period of time. And I also don't know if it's sustainable. I think it's something that you could do in the short term because all the people I know who have tried it have told me that it works, they see results. But I just don't know if it's sustainable, if you'd be able to do that for the rest of your life. And I believe in order to be successful, you have to make lifestyle changes, not a diet. You're not on a diet. This is a lifestyle. And if you do something that's sustainable, I think you see better results. But I wouldn't say don't try intermittent fasting. It might be great for a jump start. But
Right.
then what? Are you going to do that for the rest of your life? Like, eat only between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. or something, and then you don't eat again. I don't know if you can do that for the rest of your life. So I think you need something that you can sustain. But try it, sure. If it's going to jumpstart, why not?
You have anything to add with that, Scottie?
Well, the reason I punted that question to Rhonda is because I work out first thing in the morning. So I know that would not at all work for me because once I'm done, I'm like, I am ready to eat. But I have seen people have great success with it. I've just never been a person to go long periods of time without food. So personally, it wouldn't work. But I think as a concept, it can be successful for some.
Okay. Well, we have another question. I see the glowing skin, the posture, and the radiance of good health. What helped you ladies make the change to a healthier lifestyle?
Wow. Okay. First of all, thanks for all the compliments. I think that really, so again, I never really kind of think about when there was the change just because it's kind of been a part of my lifestyle for so long. But I do think one of the things Rhonda mentioned earlier, when you start seeing results and start feeling better, then it's easier to keep on doing. It's not like, oh, I need to do this for this time period or for this event. You just know that you feel better. And so so I guess the easiest thing I can compare it to is like when I go on vacation and I decide, okay, I'm probably not going to work out on my regular schedule. And yeah, my girlfriend and I might be having a glass of champagne with lunch when I'm not normally drinking in the middle of the day. And while that's all fun, when I come back and get back to my regular schedule and drinking more water and all of that, I immediately notice how much better I feel, and so I think it's just the good feeling that comes with it. And just, feeling overall healthy that makes it easy to sustain.
Now, I'll ask this question. What do you think is more important, food or fitness?
So that's the challenging one because I think, people usually think that is exercising, but I know one of the things that we both say is you can't out exercise a bad diet. I honestly think, I don't know if Rhonda agrees with me, I think food maybe even a little more
I
than
think so too. I
exercise.
agree. I would say food because if you work out for half an hour and then you go and you eat things that, uh, more calories than you burned, it's not going to work. I think it's food. Food is more important. You have to, it's a combination, but I would say definitely, I would agree with Scottie, food. I think your diet is just as important as, or even more. But yes, food.
Yeah, and I've seen interviews with other fitness professionals, even people who compete professionally, and they've said something similar that they thought
Yeah.
food was, as much as 70% of the equation. Now, I don't, I'm not going to give it a percentage, but I do think it is key. Um, yeah, definitely, probably
Food.
the scale a little bit more in the
Yeah.
way of food.
Yeah. Your
Now, what
diet
advice?
can sabotage your workout. I'm sorry. Your diet
No,
can
that's okay.
sabotage
You're
your
right. That
workout.
diet can mess you up. You go
It
work
sure
out, you feel
can.
great, and then you go eat
You
fast
eat,
food, and you go to a
right.
buffet. It's like, wait,
Yeah. Or
what are
six
we doing?
donuts or something, and there you go. It's why
Exactly.
bother? Yeah. So yeah.
So I'm just curious, what is your best advice for older women who are looking to, or more mature women, I'll say, who are looking to get fit, who maybe they haven't worked out in, I don't know, weeks, months.
The best advice I have is get started. Just get started. That's the best advice. Don't think, oh, I haven't worked out in months or I haven't worked out in weeks. Just get going. Get up and maybe start with walking. If you think, you won't be able to do strenuous exercise or what you consider to be strenuous, or just don't be intimidated, is what I also say. Sometimes, even for me, sometimes I look at workout videos and I see people doing stuff, I go, ugh, there's no way I could do that. But do what works for you. I mean, not because you see people doing squats means you should do that. If you're older and you have issues with your knees, that may not be appropriate for you. It doesn't mean you can't burn calories, though. There are lots of different things, and I do a lot of the workouts with the more mature women, and because I'm in that more mature stage, and I try to show them things that they can do, modifications. So when Scottie and I do a workout together, she'll show a certain move and I'll show the modification, where you may not have to go as low or you may not have to jump as high, because if you just can't do it, you just can't. But it doesn't mean you can't move. It doesn't mean low impact does not mean low intensity. It's low impact.
True. Yeah.
It doesn't mean low intensity. I tell everyone, you can ask anyone who do my workouts, we're low impact, but we're not low intensity. We burn calories and we move it. So just get out there and try. Start with walking and then take it up a notch.
And if I could just add to that, I think it's really helpful also to start off with a trainer. Once you get past that walking stage and you're like, all right, I want to do something else, because one of the things Rhonda mentioned that's really important is modifying and not being afraid of those modifications, because that doesn't mean that you're doing any less of a workout. So sometimes even a few sessions with a trainer to say, okay, this is how you do this movement properly, because the last thing you want to do is injure yourself, because then you're not going to ever want to exercise again. So just working with a trainer initially to make sure you understand all the modifications for your body and where you are at that time. Because as you know, as you get older, your knees feel different, your hips feel different. I mean, everything feels different. You might not want to drop down to the floor and do a burpee, but you can maybe step down and stand back up. It just depends on what you want to do. And so having someone who can help you figure out what the right modifications are, what the right exercise is for you, I think is really important also.
Now, dietary trends are constantly changing. There's keto, there's low carb, there's Atkins, there's paleo, there's the Mediterranean, there's the South Beach. How have you all been able to either integrate, adjust, and or advise with all of these changing trends?
You want me to take that one?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I think that goes back to what I said before. You have to do something that is sustainable. If you want to try any of those diets, you can. I don't ever tell anybody don't try anything. I'm not a medical doctor. So if you want, I don't know what your health is. I don't know. You'd have to, that kind of stuff would need to come from your physician. I don't know how it would impact you. But if you want to try one of those, I think that's fine. But again, I don't know. Are you going to do that for the rest of your life? You have to find something that you can do for the rest of your life. And I think that's where we come in. We look at how you're eating, we look at your, meals, at your food journal, and then we give you nutritional coaching. We give you ideas as to how you maybe eat this, not that. And some people just, they haven't thought of it. When we tell them, hey, do you know there are there are three servings in that bag of XYZ and you ate the entire bag? So you ate what was supposed to have been eaten by three people. They go, what? I've never heard of that. Three servings. They didn't even know that they could observe that. So we show them little things with nutritional coaching. I just don't think any of those diets are sustainable.
And so I think for us, well, I guess I'll speak for me. The baseline has been really kind of eating clean. And I'm not going to say if I'm at a restaurant and they have truffle fries that I'm not going to order them, because I absolutely am. But I'm not sitting at my desk munching on fries for lunch every day either. So, I mean, that's why I say for my baseline. So I think regardless of how you package a diet, you have to think about, okay, does this really sound from a logical standpoint? Does it sound healthy? And really, if any diet, I think, restricts entire food groups, chances are you probably don't want to do it. Or if it restricts fresh fruit and vegetables, I would kind of give it a second look. So I think there's kind of a common sense lens that you have to apply to it too. I mean, there's some things, like anything that requires you to restrict calories is going to result in weight loss. But whether or not that's sustainable, that's a question. So just to make sure that it kind of passes that sniff test, like if something's telling me to never eat another apple, does that make sense? So looking at it through that lens as well.
All right, we got another question from one of our viewers. Is it easier to achieve or maintain your fitness goals? And what do you do if you plateau?
Well, I think it depends on where you're starting from, because it could be a little bit easier to achieve if you're starting from zero. Like, for example, we work with people that, you mentioned people maybe not working out for weeks or days or months. I mean, we have people who haven't worked out, maybe in a couple of years. So even when we start with that, 10, 15-minute walk a day, I mean, their body's going to start responding. I mean, so they can start making movements towards their fitness goals a lot faster than someone, who's already super fit and might be looking to go down, from 20% body fat to 18% body fat. That's a whole different ball game, and that's not the kind of training we do either, because that's probably someone who's trying to compete. But I think that if the further you are from your fitness goals, the easier it is to kind of start seeing results, but you probably will hit a plateau. And that's when you have to tweak it and you have to, again, make another change. So now, we might have to say, all right, it's time to step it up. You have to do more than just give up that donut every other day. You're going to have to start thinking about, maybe not going through the Chick-fil-A drive-through for lunch every day. Let's start thinking about, meal. Look at you.
I'm playing.
Yeah,
I don't need
I
Chick-fil-A
know
every
the
day.
sweet tea is good, right? But maybe meal prepping. But you're going to have to do something a little different. You're going to have to tweak it. And now, in addition to your walking, we would probably start adding some light weightlifting or resistance training, because muscle burns more calories than fat. So you want to start building a little muscle. So we would tweak the program at that point and not just say, oh, just keep doing what you're doing, because plateaus are real.
So here's another question. I like Skinny Pop popcorn. Is this an unhealthy snack?
I would say no, it's not. If it's something that you like, my thing is, if it's something that you like how Scottie said, if she's out and she's going to order truffle fries, if she sees it, she's going to order it, and that's fine. If you like Skinny Pop, yes, I think everything in moderation. I wouldn't say don't eat your Skinny Pop. You have to look at it and see how many calories, and you have to reconcile that with, okay, how many calories have I had today? And maybe today is not a day for skinny pop because you're over the limit of the amount of calories that you should eat based on how much you have been moving. But if it's something that you like, I would say, sure, have your skinny pop. You just have to, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
One more question from me. We'll see if we have any more from our viewers. What do you all think is going to be the long-term impact on health and wellness from this period that we are calling a pandemic? I think it's stretching out a lot longer than many of us thought it would.
It
But
really
what do
is.
you think the long-term impact will be on health and wellness?
That's hard to say, but honestly, I see a lot more movement towards working out outside of the gym environment, because I think that there are a lot of people who just aren't comfortable going back into that environment. And so I think you'll see people looking to do things that they can either do independently, in groups outside the gym, or virtually. But I see a shift towards that as well. I mean, even with some of our clients, I mean, I have personal training clients that I work with. I just, set up my Zoom. I have pretty much an entire gym in my garage, and we do it that way. Rhonda has a pretty loyal following of individuals who do her group fitness classes, and they are all over the country. And so I think we'll see more of that, your exercise classes won't be restricted by the walls of a gym, and that people are just kind of looking a little broader.
And I'd like to add to that, I think people also have become more aware of, hey, like you said, I gained the COVID-15. And so a lot of people have become more aware of, what, I really need to exercise. And because of the pandemic, they've become a little more focused on, hey, I need to move it. I need to get out there. I need to be stronger. My body needs to be better to fight off any illness that, I may get. So I think people are now more focused on diet, exercise. And again, like Scottie said, we do a lot of, almost all of our training on virtually. So I think more people are going to be accepting, hey, I'm going to have to exercise virtually. I do group classes virtually. We do individual classes virtually. So I think before the pandemic, nobody would have done that. If I had said, hey, instead of us exercising, outside for a boot camp, I'll see you all on virtually, they would have said, I don't want to do that. But now everyone accepts it. So I think that's going to be a change for sure.
So I think I primarily work out at home, but Edwin says, no, ma'am, I need the gym. The only thing I pick up at home is a fork, the spoon, and the plate. So
yeah, I know. There's some people who just can't do
That's
it
right.
home.
Yeah. It's whatever's your comfort level. If you're comfortable back in the gym, then go for it. I'm happy because you're working out. So if that's your comfort level, I think that's great.
Well, Rhonda and Scottie of Be Well, their Instagram handle is scrolling at the bottom of the page. So if you would like to connect with them on Instagram, certainly make sure that you give them a follow and check out their content on Instagram. As we wrap up, do either of you have any final words?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. And I guess the final thing I'd like to say is really, it is never too late to start. I know some people feel like they've hit a certain age or they've hit a certain plateau in their wellness or fitness, and they're like, it is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. So it's never too late to get started.
Right. And I echo that. And I want to also say thank you so much for inviting us. It was a pleasure.
I do have a question from another one of our viewers, which I think is a great question. For your younger viewers, how can we be proactive in maintaining a healthy lifestyle as we get older?
Same advice, get started.
Right. Get started now.
And make it consistent and figure out what it is you like. I mean, both in the nutrition and the fitness. I think with movement, people jump onto a lot of fads as well. But really what it boils down to is what you like, and what you stick with is what is going to be most successful and give you the best results.
If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. I was just having a discussion with a young lady yesterday, and she was saying, I don't like to do strength training. I like to be outdoors. I like to ride my bike. I like to walk. I said, then that's fine. At some point you may have to add some strength training, but if you don't like it, the bottom line is you're not going to do it. So do what you like in terms of movement and exercise. Do what you like to start. And as things change in your body, as you get into those mature years, you may want to add something else and tweak it. But for now, just movement. Do what you like.
Awesome. Well, Rhonda and Scottie, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge during this National Wellness Month and hanging out with us today on the Angela Ray Show. Again, their Instagram is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You ladies have a great evening.
You too. Thanks,
Same to
Angela.
you. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome. All right. Well, that is it for this Wednesday night edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you all of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror does not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you all to go out and be the change. Have a great evening, and I will see you all next week.